What's going on? Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy Morbius. Today is Tuesday, which means it's another episode of Comic Relief. Y'all already know we're going to get it in, man. I'm excited about today's topic. I hope y'all excited about today's topic. It's an open discussion. The link is in the chat. I'll be putting it in all night. Make sure you hop on if y'all got something to say and, let it be known. But let's get into it. Let's get this show started. Y'all already know. Yes, sir.
Hey,
what's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's up? What's up, party people?
Going on? What is going on? You already know what's good. It is Tuesday. How you doing, brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can't complain. It's been a good week so far. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't complain myself, man. I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there, brother.
All right.
And I see we got people hanging out with us real quick. I just want to say hi to Lily. Love you, mommy. And but yeah, man, let's just get this started. Tonight, of course, we're gonna be talking about the different changes of gender, ethnicity, race, whatever, in the Marvel characters in the MCU. And I know something that you're not only I wanted to talk about it, but I know that Krash is something that you really wanted to talk about. You actually brought it up to me and was like, "Yo, we need to talk about this." I was like, "For sure." And but yeah, man, I'm definitely ready to get it in, man. But of course, before we do that, we gotta give a quick. No, we gotta go to. Let's do a cheers. Let's do a cheers real quick. Cheers to the chat. Cheers to the chat.
Cheers to the chat.
Cheers to the chat. Salute to you, man. Salute, my brother. Salute to everybody. Nice and cold. What are you drinking there? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Good O's water.
I knew it. You fucking. I'm having my presidente, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to the chat. Let's see who's hanging out in here with us. All right, we got the homie Big Sove in the building. He was actually, he was at up in Baltimore, man, and he was doing his thing out there, man. I really wanted to go, man, but there was no way I could make it this year, man. For real. I saw he got a nice big haul over there. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
What up, Steve? Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you as always, coming through, representing. I know he feeling the topic too. He feeling good about it. Of course, we got Unruly Simeon.
Yes, sir.
This topic too. He like, yo, we gotta talk about this shit. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the homie Big Leroy. I know he feeling the topic. Leroy is like, yo, for facts, son, we gotta talk about this. You know what I'm saying? There's something fishy about all this. And of course, I know Daryl want to talk about this because Daryl was like, yo, I'm gonna try to get on, son. Daryl, hit that link. You already know it's up top. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I know Big Daddy John loved the topic because he was like, yo, I'm feeling it. Salute to everybody. What up,
John?
Salute. And of course, I know even from his job, hiding in the corner when nobody could see him, the homie Paulie was like, yo, I'm feeling this topic, son. We got to talk about it. Feeling this, son, but I hope nobody in my job see me. You know what I'm saying? Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate everybody who's hanging out with us. Oh, hold on a second. This is jumping on me. Hold up. And of course, another brother was like, yo, I'm feeling this topic. Free energy was good. He's always in the building. Salute. Brother got the crazy Doom collection. If y'all not following, go follow him. And but yeah, man, we in here. We got the people in the building. We're hanging out. And I'm saying real quick, let's just start this off, guys. Hold on a second. Let's do it again. Give me 1 sec. Let's just do this real quickity quick. We're dropping that again. You know what I'm saying? Feeling it, hop in. Let's talk about it. So we're going to be talking today about how they the MCU and Marvel is changing these characters, to different races, different genders. And I know we've spoken about it many a times. I know it's been a topic many a times. And but I guess let's start off with you, Krash. I know you're passionate about it. I know it's something you really want to talk about. So let's just take
not like that, bro.
No, I know not passionate in that sense, but like you really got some shit to say. You know what I'm saying, sir? Like,
well, I honestly, I was just curious to take the temperature of the comic book community about, now that we've seen more previews of this Black Panther movie coming up with Namor. I just wanted to see how people felt, because honestly, I've never been a huge Namor fan. So for me, it's not that big of a deal. But I was really curious to hear from people that have a lot more invested in Namor as a Marvel character than I do. And now that, because of that investment, how do they feel about what's going on now with Namor? You see what I'm saying? So with me, I think it's great with the representation. I think it's a different time that we're in, and I think it's good business at the end of the day. But I think what's important is that you're able to do this with a character, and the hardest thing about doing this is being able to stay true to the character, but at the same time give him something a little extra that helps more inclusion. You see what I'm saying? What's up, Paul? So
no, I get it. I'm like, when it comes to Namor, once again, I wasn't such a big fan, so it wasn't such a big deal with me. But then, these last few months, I've gotten more into Namor, started picking up the run, started reading it, and like this transition, how they did it, from being like a Mayan descendant, like how, because the whole basis is almost like the mirror image of like Wakanda. You know what I mean? That's kind of like how this is.
Yeah.
It's like a mirror image of Wakanda. That's how they that's what Namor is. You like, these two guys are like kings. They're high technology. They're in their own element. They have that same energy and attitude of trying to keep outsiders out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that kind of, and then for that transition from him to go the, half Atlantean, Caucasian to Mayan, and then now they have like their own city where kind of like that's where the Mayan like god of like Kukulkan, what I'm saying, comes from. Like, they came out the sea, and that's kind of like really in the history of Mayan history, where the gods came out the sea. Kukulkan came from the sea, the feathered, lizard king,
feathered serpent. Yeah.
The serpent, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, that's what's so cool about it, so to see that transition was kind of like, okay, I could see that. I could see how they could play off that,
Yeah.
But then you have other ones that is like, okay, I think they're trying to reach a little bit. You know what I mean? This was more organic,
I thought it was a great transition the way they did this.
It definitely
they were
was.
very thoughtful. The fact that they did all the research that they did, when you start reading the behind the scenes stuff.
Good. What's good, brother?
When you start reading the behind the scenes stuff, and you start realizing how I think what was the woman's name? Ruth E. Carter, who did the costume design for the first movie. She also did it for this movie. And I see the interviews with her, how much research she did into Mesoamerican history, Mayan history. What up? What up, Daryl?
What's going on?
What's
brother?
going on, fellas?
So yes, as you know, you're joining the discussion now about this Namor thing. But yeah, how Ruth E. Carter did all her research about Mesoamerican history and the Mayan culture to kind of be true to form of what she was bringing. So it's not some half-ass shit or some Hollywood, shit. That it's like, it's a concerted effort to be as true as possible to this new history they're weaving into this character.
No, I hear you. Sorry, I got a text from Paul.
All right. What's up, Daryl? So how you feel about this, Daryl?
Yeah. What's your take, brother?
Well, regarding like just Namor in general, I'm pretty stoked about what they're doing with Namor, because he's never been one of my favorite characters. I liked him when he popped up and stuff. So I'll admit I'm kind of a hypocrite on this topic in general. There's certain characters I don't care at all. Like, I love Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, even though I know they pulled that from Ultimates and stuff. But like, I liked that a lot. I didn't care a bit about any of the Eternals being race or gender swap.
Right.
But some characters like, Peter Parker, I've read hundreds of issues of him as a white dude with brown hair and brown eyes, and it's like, if they changed his hair to blonde, I would be bothered by it,
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, some of it just comes up to like, who is the character, and like, I guess my mental image of how important that character is. But like, even with Spider-Man, like I acknowledge the argument that it doesn't really matter what color he is under the mask. His story would work either way. But I've just read so many Spider-Mans that his look is imprinted in my mind that is who he's going to be.
Right. No, I can understand that. And I think that what they did with Miles Morales was amazing because they created like exactly like what you just say right now. So you have people who would probably have a hard time, right, with that. And that's why when you saw in the movie, you know what I mean, what was sorry, Jamie Foxx, when he said it in the movie, he's like, man, I know there's got to be a black Spider-Man, you know what I mean, somewhere in another dimension, you know. So obviously, you know, so that's why you have Miles Morales who was created, you know what I mean. I feel like that's how I feel like that's one of the reasons why we got Miles Morales, you know what I mean, because it's almost like you had to get that. You love Spidey, you know what I mean, and I'm gonna keep it 100. Word, I feel Spidey is Spidey, you know. Peter Parker, like that's just a white dude, you know what I mean. That's
from Queens, nerdy white dude from Queens.
That's a nerdy white dude. He you know, that's just Peter Parker. Like you can't just deny that, you know what I mean. So to get Miles Morales, it was like, oh, okay, here we go. That's another dope Spidey character, but now we got, you know, African American doing it and it fits perfect. It was organic. It was perfect. It was just like, boom, we got it. So you got two Spideys that work together, and it's like it don't look cheesy at all. You're just like, okay, you got Miles and you got Parker, right? Dope. Like that's cool. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look stupid. Like it doesn't look dumb or cheesy or anything like that. We got Big Daddy. Hold on, we got to bring Big Daddy in here.
Oh, Big Daddy.
We haven't had John.
What's up, guys?
Oh, John.
What's going on? So yeah, so I just wanted to jump in real quick for Big Daddy says anything. I just wanted to kind of set up this whole thing about, because we brought up the Ultimate Universe.
Yes.
And I just want to remind folks that everything that the MCU is doing right now, they took a page off of the Ultimate Universe. And as you guys remember, the whole point of the Ultimate Universe was to modernize the whole Marvel universe, but do it in another universe, a multiverse, so that it doesn't disrupt what's going on in the main universe. So I thought that was pretty clever how they did that. So it seems that the MCU is trying to take a page from that.
Yeah, I could see that. John, what's your take?
Oh man, as an old white guy, we need this. No joke, man. No joke. We need this. Yeah. I mean, you know, I've got the complete Namor run. I finished it last year. Nice. This does not bother me.
Nice. Congrats.
Okay. I think that the Miles Morales movie, I think that is probably the best movie that I've seen out of all of these movies. Maybe not the best, but it's one of the best.
Right.
And I've been there. You know, I mean, I've been collecting Amazing Spider-Man since in the 40s, like number 40s. So when Ben Reilly came along, I was pissed off. And I was like, I don't want the clones. I don't want this is stupid, you know?
And he dyed his hair blonde, like I said.
Yeah, that pissed off a lot of people.
Right.
I'd seriously quit collecting Spider-Man for a period of time because of that storyline, the whole clone saga.
Yeah.
And now I appreciate it. You know, I mean, I'm older. I understand things better. I have a different perspective. And it's funny that, or it's ironic that we're having this conversation today. It's election day. Okay. And there's a little irony there, you know, because things are changing.
Yeah.
And I embrace that change. You know, I go to work every day and I work with people from, man, I think we're up to about 10 countries in the company I work at now. And it's like, I enjoy that. I enjoy that culture. I enjoy that food. And it's like, why not bring them in? So I agree with Krash. You know, I mean, when the Ultimate Universe came out, I did not immediately embrace it.
Yeah.
But it was soon after that I did. I mean, I missed Miles' first issue when it came out. Again, hard-headed, knuckle-headed white guy. old man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's like, no, you know what? Some of this stuff it's really good. And it's like, just sit back, take it in, and enjoy it. Because you know what? I've said it before. We're not in a time frame now where Lou Ferrigno's getting green makeup wiped all over him and playing the Hulk. Okay? We live in amazing times. So, yeah, I mean, was it a little bit of a shock that Namor is from, South America, whether he's Mayan or wherever they take the Incan or wherever they take this? Yeah, it was a little bit of a shock, but you know what? Kind of makes some sense. Right. And I want to see the movie before I make a real decision on whether I like it or not. I mean, I hated the last Thor movie. I still don't like that damn movie.
That shit was trash.
I mean, I've watched it like 3 times and I fucking hate it.
Dude, I can't even watch it full through. I'm like fast forwarding so many parts. I'm just like, yeah.
But even on that one, a lot of the hate originally pointed towards Jane Thor, and they're
to me Thor. It wasn't even that. It's Thor himself. Like the way they wrote Thor in this movie, that's what annoyed the shit out of me. It had nothing to do with Jane. I thought it was cool with Jane. I was just like, yes, finally, you know what I mean? That totally character cool getting the shine. It's like, but it was Thor himself with him, and then going full on, like, it's just too much. Like, it was just over the top. They were trying to be too funny. Trying to be too funny. And it was like, it wasn't funny.
They made him a goofball. I
agree with exactly.
All that. You saw a lot of the online.
That's my problem with him.
You just saw a lot of the online hate initially before the movie even came out. It was about girl Thor. Oh, they're replacing the man Thor. Blah blah blah. Nah. You saw that, and I mean, I brushed all that off and was excited about it. And I came out disappointed, not because of that at all. Because, like you said, they made him a goofball.
Yeah, he was just fucking silly. But
I was going back to the God Killer to be a God Killer. I mean, I want to
don't even get me started on the whole the God Killer, man. I was so disappointed. I was just like, oh God. Like, at least should have gave me something, man. Give me something. Make him look a little bit like Gore. You know what I mean? But whatever. But my whole thing with, like, even going back to, like, Namor, I just think that it just made, like, when you look at it historically, it, like, made sense the way, like we were saying, like, the Mayan gods, Kukulkan. They said, if you look at Mayan history, they came from the water. You know what I mean? This is where their gods come from. They came out of the water. So you tie that in with, Namor, and it's like, oh, okay, we could kind of use that as a way to tie those two, that culture with that's character. And anyone who knows the history will kind of tie that in together and be like, okay, I can see where they came. Because they emphasize that in the trailer. They came from the water. They kept emphasizing that. So like you said, I can't, until we see the movie, then we could really digest this. But just based on what I know on Mayan history and just what they showed in the trailer, it made sense to me. That's why, to me, it was easy to accept this transition in character. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. It made sense. It wasn't like shoved down my fucking throat and like, you gotta like eat this. This is part of some political fucking agenda. Like, that's when you lose. It's like, all right, now you fucking lost me. But when you come at me organically and it makes sense to me, and it's like, oh, okay, and everything still ties in. Yeah, and at the same time, you get in that diversity, which Krash, I know we were talking about it before the cameras turned on. How we was really saying that when it comes to changing a character, if it's not like we were saying, like with Black Panther, you can't have a white character playing Black Panther. That's just, you can't do that, because how can you have that when he's descendant of an African nation? This is an African so-called, fictional place, but it's based in Africa. You know what I mean?
Right, well, his race is core to his story arc.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So take it from there, brother.
I was just gonna say that because of Black Panther, in that particular case, his race is connected to his story arc. So, and I know that was like the example we gave was, okay, Johnny Storm. Is it essential for his story arc for him to be white? What is it about Johnny Storm that we know about him that he has to be a white character. Right. It's just one example. So, you know, and I think that is where some of these writers are going, saying, let's ask these important questions, because, you know, we have to trigger some folks. So
that's right. No. So I mean, like, to be honest, when it came to Fantastic Four, yeah, that's great diversity. But if you're gonna, like, the movie itself, like when they picked Jessica Alba, like, listen, if you're gonna put fucking blue eyes and blonde hair on a fucking Spanish girl, just fucking hire a white girl. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? Like, that shit did not make no fucking sense to me. I'm like, you're already going blonde hair and blue eye. Just fucking hire a white girl.
You see, that's forcing it down your throat.
Like, you know, Jessica Alba's not blonde hair, blue eye. And she had those stupid, like, a lot of it is just like casting. Like, they just be fucking up these characters. Like, that movie alone. But you know what? I get it. They could diversify. To me, it's not a big deal with that, because I guess I'm not really stuck on Fantastic Four. But to be honest, like, they just gotta keep it. I think a lot of times, like, if you keep it genuine to that comic book, when it comes to these iconic characters, like, I don't know, when it comes to these iconic characters, like, to me, it's like, yo, it's not even about fucking race. I just want to see what the fuck I've been reading for fucking 30 plus years. Like, if you're gonna give me a blonde, just give me a white girl. Yes, Invisible Woman, she's white. Yes, he's white. Fantastic. They're all white. I don't give a fuck. Just show a great fucking movie with some great special effects. Give me some great fucking backstory with some connection to the rest of the fucking MCU, and I'll fucking eat it up. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. Don't fucking force feed me anything else. Like, that's the shit I don't like. You know what I mean? It's like, even with that movie, they were like, oh, we hired Jessica Alba, you know, Mexican, to play. Like, shut the fuck up. That was all. Y'all fucked that up. Y'all just fucked that up. Y'all should have just kept it natural. Brown, you know, brown hair, brown eyes, and fucking, you know, if y'all really wanted to make a statement, but y'all look this.
Well, see, that's where they fucked up. Where they fucked up is that they hired an ethnic actress, but they still kept the writing of the character as a white character. Like you said, she still had blue eyes, blonde hair. They wrote her as a white woman, but cast an ethnic woman, and that feels more like they're trying to shove shit down your throat as opposed to letting it grow organically.
Well, back then though, it was more about Jessica Alba she was just a hot item at the time.
Right, exactly. She was just.
They weren't really worried about the diversity of. What year was that? Like 2003 or something, you know. But now they're more concerned about it, I would say.
True.
Right. They may not have been concerned with the diversity, but the point of bringing that up is how they try to shove shit down your throat by putting blue contacts on her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Little things like that. It's like,
that's where white people should be like, yo, that's some bullshit right there. You know what I'm saying? Take them blue contacts off, bitch.
You know, we can't say that.
Like, they're trying to stick too hard to the character.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying?
You know we're pinned down. We can't say no shit like that.
Nah, you can't. Y'all can't say a motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't say shit. You know.
No, you know I can say something.
You can give a motherfucker a compliment and shit, and motherfuckers be like racist.
No, this is half the reason I don't watch the movies, though. They've diverged so far from the Marvel Comics universe.
Oh, wait, this guy, Albert, salute to Albert. I'm sorry. He came up with, what do you think about Chris Pratt as Mario?
To the whole topic.
Love you, Albert.
to the whole topic here. My opinion on the matter is they shouldn't diverge at all from the original material. Only reason being is that's what made that character worthy of being in some kind of film or getting more exposure, if you will. Right. But there's no doubt that a lot of these characters, these legacy characters, they've been around a long time. They're very well known. They're stale. They're old. They're worn out. A newer, better version could come along. And there's the torchbearers that want to see this character stick around and just have crummy stories continue. There's some exceptions to that rule, but let's face it, like Captain America is boring. Captain America, he's just boring. He's milquetoast. He's got no plight left. Like,
hey, be careful you say that around, man.
No, I don't care about it.
I'm glad Paul ain't in here.
Yo, this is comic relief. I will just drop opinions and just bounce.
No, don't get me wrong, man. I'm not a Cap fan either, but you know,
and I'm not dissing him.
I tread lightly around Paul when I talk about Cap. You know what I mean? So watch it.
No, listen.
He is here. He's listening. Trust me.
He's always here.
He's always
here.
He's always here. He's ever present.
It's just for a second. But
go back to Cap. I saw Daryl. Daryl was like shaking his head, like I don't know about that.
Maybe he's a poor example, but let's face it. There's some stale characters, and then there's been some re-envisionings of certain characters that have been way more exciting and interesting. And then there's been some that have just been forced upon us that are not interesting no matter how much they try to make them. I really tried with Kamala Khan. Her target audience is not me.
No, it's not us. That's not us.
I want to like her. I generally, given the right circumstances, I bet she could have been a cool character. But she's just not one for me. I'm not going to knock anybody's character. I like Ghost Rider. Like, what the hell kind of opinion could I have? Like, to me, that's the greatest comic book that ever existed. So opinions are like blah, blah, blah. We all know.
It's funny because like
the movies need to stick to the source material.
You know what? I got a question for you. So, all right. So going on what you're saying. So let's say they do the Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's say they bring the Ghost Rider in the MCU and they don't use Johnny Storm. They use the Spanish dude. What's his name?
I really hope they don't use Johnny Storm as Ghost Rider because that would be messed up. Because you'd want Johnny Blaze in there.
I mean, Johnny Blaze. Thanks, bro.
No. Well, they did Robbie Reyes on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gabriel Luna freaking killed it. Absolutely killed it. But
so regardless of the actor, that what I'm saying is that if the MCU chooses to use the Spanish character from Ghost Rider than the white dude, how would you feel about that?
Are you saying is like if a Spanish dude played Johnny Blaze?
No.
If a Spanish dude played the Spanish dude,
right?
That would make me happy. They're sticking to the source material.
Okay.
But additionally, to what I was talking about earlier, Robbie Reyes exemplifies something special. He brings something new to the table, a new perspective, a new background, and
new vehicle.
A different group of people can come along and say, all right, I like the pre-character, but this guy I feel like I'm more in tune with. And that makes me happy. To see diversity is important. To simply change a legacy character like Eternals, that does upset me. You have these pre-established characters. I don't care if it's a white person they turn black or a black person they turn white. What matters to me is they kept the same character. That's what made that story special. If this is just a bunch of white people going on a space parade, don't make the movie. Find a better source material.
See, here's my thing. So I feel like they have this need that where when you put a specific ethnic character or different race substituting like a Caucasian character, because obviously, we understand who wrote all these comic books. We know that where it came from. It's just white people. You know what I mean? Like we get
Jewish people.
You know what I mean? So we get that. But like my thing is this: like you could give me these different races, give me these different characters, but it has to be within the context and it has to make sense. But when you do it and it becomes like this character now that was Caucasian, right, in the comic books, and now in the movie they're, let's say, whatever, Indian, and then now they have all these Indian cultural undertones that come with it, you know what I mean, which is great. But at the same time, it's like diluting what the movie is about. Like it kind of interferes with when you start to break down the movie, because now it's becoming about the cultures of these different characters based on their cultural background. And you see that now. I'm not talking about Eternal. I'm talking about in other movies I've seen, or like in where they it's not about no more the movie. It's not the movie no more. It's about
it's not the source.
You know what I mean? Like they have to emphasize, and then when they do it, it doesn't even feel organic. It doesn't feel natural. It feels like they just like throwing it in your face, and it's like, yes, you got to acknowledge me. I am here now. Like, look at me now, and it's like, okay.
Would you also call it disrespectful to the source material? Now, when
not
Jack, when Jack Kirby created the Eternals, well, just to keep the same rhythm going, he made it everybody's white, but that's what he created. And I feel like somebody else coming along and saying, I know better than what the person who created it did. I find that insulting to their work. Now, if
Michael,
someone were,
so what do you think of Namor being
here
Mexican?
I don't
listening
care.
to Michael, listening to what you're saying. Okay. Yes, Kirby made them all white.
Yeah.
But how much of that was editorial?
Well, we'll never know that.
We won't.
Now, here's my thought, though.
We won't.
So you keep writing the Eternals, introduce new characters, maybe kill off some of the other ones, introduce new ones, make them special, and have a diverse. But instead of just taking this character and going, they're a female now. They were male, now they're female. Just abruptly with no reason behind it.
I can respect that. I'm just thinking in terms of I'm now that my children are in their 20s and entering 30, we have some interesting conversations. So to me, they do make me kind of, whoa, wait a second, okay, so I can respect that, but I just sit here and I go, I don't know, how much does a lot of this really matter to the, I get where Morb and Krash and them are talking about, don't change like the whole vibe of everything. Again, I rebelled against, different Spider-Man. Ben Reilly. I mean, he's another white guy. I think
he was boring. He was boring. He was just more of the same.
Yeah.
There was nothing that made him special. There was nothing, and then Miles Morales comes along and you're like, holy shit, this is exciting. Yeah, this is new. This is territory we've never explored before. There's
and I think that like what John said earlier, there was a lot of people turned off to it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I was turned off to not too long ago that, it was, to me, when I looked at it, like, I remember having this conversation with Albert with Invincibles, when Invincibles came out. I remember looking at this and I was just like, literally grabbed it off the rack and was like, Invincible #1. I mean, I'm like, this shit looks fucking garbage. Like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? Like this, like I had no interest in it. And then now in retrospect, I look back reading Invincible. I'm like, holy shit, this shit was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? But at that time, I just couldn't wrap my head around it because to me, it looked like foolishness. Like it was like, oh, this is, cartoon bullshit. Like this is, why I didn't even bother looking into it. So I think a lot of it is that a lot of times when all this, with the change of like, when they start to change cultures and races and adding new races and cultures to comic books, I think that to us is a lot of us get a little standoffish because it's a change of the norm. It's something that we're so accustomed to, even with characters that we were saying, like, oh yeah, Peter Parker being white. Yes, this is what I want to see, or certain characters like it, because it's been instilled into us for so long that we feel like we don't want no interruption in that. We want to keep that as a whole, don't want nothing ruining that. But
they do it right, then it'll stick though.
Right.
You're right. Initially, everybody's gonna have that initial reaction about, wait a second, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this.
I don't feel comfortable.
And if you do it correctly, then eventually people will come around.
It grows on you. Like with Namor. At first, even me with him being, I was just like, what the fuck they doing? What they trying to get the Latino now and fucking, what the fuck are they doing? Trying to get our money now? Like, what's up? Like,
So
they saw the demographics and were like, Latinos are not fucking coming to Marvel movies. We got to get Latinos in the Marvel movies. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm thinking all that shit, you know? And
so
then
we get a White Tiger movie.
Cool.
Well, that's where, you know, they need to fast track a White Tiger movie. You know, they need to fast track, you know, a Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes movie. If you feel like if Marvel or any publisher for that matter feels like they're losing their target market, then make a movie geared towards them based off of property that's proven that, you know, there's some characters they know work, there's some they know didn't. And if somebody resonates, make the movie about them. Look, why change stuff? Go with the one you know they already like and want. You know, it to me that makes the most sense.
It does,
but it goes farther than just. It goes farther than just their color or where they're from, though, or you know, their sexual orientation, male, female. There's defining traits to characters that make them resonate with the public at large. You know, and when they start to lose that along the way, they're not special anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
What's up, Daryl?
Hey guys, I gotta jump off, but before I go, did anybody watch like Sandman or Reddit? No,
actually, like Sandman, I started that and then I
started it too.
Well, if you've ever read it, it's actually the best adaptation ever. Like, because Neil Gaiman was like, you know, super involved in the show, the writing of the show, the plot. It sticks to it almost verbatim, but they race swap tons of characters in it, particularly Death. You know, they had an African American girl playing.
I figured that.
And she was amazing.
Yeah,
she was amazing.
Yeah, she played great.
Right. But in my head, I was going, before I watched it, I was kind of like, I'm looking forward to the show, but I wish they hadn't done that because Death is like this like pale goth girl, you know? But then I watched the show and I was like blown away by her performance. I mean, it was
because they did a good job.
Right.
Yeah, I saw it too, Darren. They did a really good job, and they even gender swap and race swap his assistant, the Sandman's assistant.
Yeah.
I forgot the character's name.
But
they did a good job.
Right. Great storytelling, man. That's what it's about. Great storytelling. You tell a great story. And I saw the first few episodes and I kind of fell off, but I got to get back on it. You know what I mean?
It's good. Definitely get on it.
I got to get back
on it. I got to hop off, fellas, but I'll stay.
Daryl, appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you,
good, brother.
Nice seeing you, man.
Always. Yeah, race swapping is lazy and unoriginal, plain and simple. It has its place, in my opinion, but to an extent, I see what they're saying because, as Sove mentioned, you have characters already there. Mind what you have already there.
There he is.
What up, Paul?
He's always listening.
He's always listening. See, who said he wasn't here?
Time. He was here, guys.
I was listening, man. I was listening. What's good? What's good?
You would say, Krash?
So yeah, like Sove had mentioned, there is material there. And I think what they did with the Ultimate Universe, I personally thought that was a clever way of dealing with updating characters without shitting all over the source material. Well, and it was a clever way of doing it.
It was a reimagining of the whole Marvel universe, though.
Right.
You know, and that's perfectly fine. You created something all in new. It's the same idea as introducing a new character. You did something all new. I guess where my plight comes in when you make a movie and then it starts affecting the original source material.
Right.
So they make a movie. Okay, so Namor's Mexican now. Now I don't know what he was previously. He would have been half merman, half
Irish.
Well, he was half Atlantean, half Caucasian, basically.
No, he was Irish because his last name was
Irish.
Mackenzie.
Okay, yeah,
Mackenzie. So he was
Atlantis is off of Italy, supposedly.
All right.
Okay. But
well,
so now is he going to be?
Let's do it.
Is he going to be Mexican in the comic book now?
I hope not.
Well,
I hope not.
As you know, that will happen. It will be some type of different dimension. You know what I mean? Some Earth 38, 39, crazy. You know what I mean? They're gonna do it for
He's a
comics
mutant.
because it sells, because they can make money off of it. It's,
He's a mutant.
It just sucks. It sounds racist no matter how you say it.
Well, I mean,
you just don't want to see your character.
Obvious that they're gonna do it. It's obvious. They do it with every movie. They do it with every. You know, they always gonna try to incorporate and make some more money out of it. Squeeze some money out of it. It's obvious. You know what I mean? I didn't take it as racist. I took it as like that's like.
No, I'm saying,
you know what I mean?
Like being like, I don't want him to be Mexican. I want him to stick to his Irish roots. Now you're a racist if you say that. When it's just like, no, man, he was written like that for, you know, what, 80 years? He came out in what, 1939?
We was just talking about this. Krash.
That's it, right?
What was that?
That's right on point right there.
We were just talking about this before the cameras turned on. We were talking about this. Right. And that's right. That's what we were saying. Like, you know, it's and like Miles Morales was like something that we were talking about because he was like, okay, we created a new character. You know, it wasn't like we were trying to take, you know, Spider-Man and make him black. We just created a whole new, you know, Spider-Man character, like, you know, in a different universe. Now he's black in this universe. You know what I mean? Right. So that was like, we were talking about that. And then that's when we came up with like, they could have come up with like, you know, a different take on Black Goliath, or let's say, you know, anybody, you know what I mean? Like so many characters, like even in DC, Black Lightning. And then we were talking, then the topic came up of the whole, you know, blaxploitation, you know, era of characters that came out, you know, with these names, with these titles in front of them, with black, and you know what I mean? At the time, you know, of course that resonated with the black community, you know what I mean, with Black Power, you know, so hearing black in front of this character is like, yeah, it resonates, you know what I mean? But there's a place and time for everything. So now today, what you're gonna do? You know, you're gonna just call them Lightning, you're gonna call them Goliath. You know what I mean? So all that stuff we were talking about, like, it was just, we had a whole big conversation about that. And I think that, you know, we do have a lot of black characters that we can use. You know what I mean? We don't have to create new characters. And like, and basically, even if it's a no-namer, like somebody who's not really on the radar, you would rather go to a movie to see that guy than a whole new created, you know, black character, a whole new black, you know, universe that goes with that character.
That's how they got there, though. That's how they got there. Think about that. This character was written for years, and there's readership behind this character. We all like him, and we like when this character shows up. He's going to be in a movie now. Now I'm excited. You know.
Yeah. Definitely, that has a lot to do with it.
You know, so I feel like there's already built-in excitement.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, like, you know, like even, you know, what they were seeing in the chat right now, like, you know, what Keep It Thorough was saying, the problem Black Latino, you know, they receive subpar writing. We do have a lot of that happens, you know, so when you have a great character that's written horribly, you know, instantly that character is just going to get fucking shunned. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's it. He was a great character. That was a great concept of a character, but the way he's written, he automatically gets fucking pushed to the sidelines, you know. And I think that
most of the characters from back then, like that, though, like you guys are saying, so the black characters, they all had black in their name. They were all written a certain way, though. Or like the Latino characters are like, they all have to fit in a box, so they're not. So the reason why they make the MCU Wonder Man, he's gonna be black, because I think some of it is because the comment was, though, there's a lot of black characters already, but a lot of them, their roots go back to a time where they were written very like basically like that other comment said, you know, just they weren't written very well. You know, they were there, they were in the background, they fit their little niche, you know, whatever they were supposed to do, the story point, but then they just moved them along. You know, they didn't really develop them much further than that. So someone like Wonder Man, he's been in the Avengers. He's been around since the early 60s. He's much more developed than some of those other characters. So that's probably why they can't just like bring out Black Goliath, you know, even though he was technically in the Ant-Man movie, but
you know, and technically, right? You're right. See, the thing is, behind the scenes, me and Morbius had this exact conversation. So, and kind of went like, there was two ways that people were doing this. They were either, well, the two you spoke of is, okay, they weren't written very well. Okay, I get that. But Marvel has no problem with taking characters that weren't written very well and made wonderful movies about them. The Guardians of the Galaxy, they weren't A-list characters in Marvel Comics, but they made a hit movie out of it. So see, that's one side.
But that version they did do in the movie was good though. That was like from Annihilation, Conquest, and all that. That was good content. That's why they didn't use that OG team, because they were kind of, at least in my opinion, kind of lame, you know.
So yeah, you make a good point. Yeah. So, but the other side of the fence also, which I also see, is that the reason that Marvel does what they do is like what you said. You have characters that aren't really developed very well, and because this is all about business and making money, it doesn't make any sense to take an underdeveloped character and say, because he's a black character, let's make a movie about him, as opposed to taking an already established character and saying, hey, let's race swap him. It'll be easy for us. We don't have to develop, a brand new character. Who's going to go see a movie of an underdeveloped character nobody knows, and it's a black lead?
Is it a good movie?
Well, we don't know yet. That's the thing. Before the movie's even made, this is them sitting down and making the business conversation and say, what are we going to do before we even make a movie?
Because when you got to understand, when you're riding off that whole wave, like there's a wave, a political wave, right? That's going on, that agenda, that whole shit that's going on. So when you ride that wave, whatever it is, you know what I mean? You're instantly going to make money. Because people are going to blindly support it based on the fact that whatever it is that they feel is right. And it could go on all other levels, not just gender. It could be on fucking sexuality, all this shit. You know what I mean? As long as it fits the narrative of what the masses right now are under, consensus, or everyone is under that same, following, they're going to go watch that shit. So let's say like with Black Lives Matters, all this shit, right? So you put a whole bunch of black people on TV, put a whole bunch of characters like, oh shit, Superman black. You know what I mean? Let's do all this stuff. Like people are gonna be like they thinking that, okay, this is what's going on. This is what they want to see. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not what I want to see. You know what I mean? Like I want to see, you know what I'm saying? Like my own character, like my own up there. You know what I mean? I don't want to be borrowed from someone else. And that's something that goes across like all cultures, you know what I mean? Not just Latinos or black, that's just everybody in general, because there's nothing wrong with having, powerful, strong white characters. Like that's cool. Like we already said that, you know what I mean? Peter Parker, Spider-Man, like, you know what I mean? Like in this universe, like that's Peter Parker. He just that white little nerd, like that's who he is. You know what I mean? But like when you look at other characters, like we do want to have our own, and I think that that's something that's important for us as a culture, because it's like what Krash was saying. Now we have a voice. You know what I mean? Before we didn't have a voice, so we really didn't have a say in things, and we had to accept what was given to us. Like and we took it with open arms, because we're like, fuck, this is all I could get. This is the character, white, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is who I get. Great. But now we have a voice. Now we're a part, we're actually affecting society. We're actually affecting the way this world is moving. So now it's like, okay, we need that inclusion. Like but I don't want it being shoved down my fucking mouth. I don't want you giving me a remake of another character. Like, no, like if we're going to do it, let's do it right. And let's do it organically, and let's do it where it just flows, where we just like, yes, it doesn't feel like you're throwing me a fucking bone. That's the thing. I don't want to feel like you're throwing me a bone, and a lot of times, a lot of these characters come across as you're throwing me a bone. When you make black Superman, like you're throwing me a fucking bone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what you're doing. And that's how it's.
That's where I feel like just making an organic character, having them appear, show up, see if they make a splash. Do people like it? And if they do, keep them around. If they don't, make something new. Come up with something that is interesting. To going back to the Eternals thing, there's more than just the basic. What is it, like 7 characters that Jack Kirby started with? There's hundreds of Eternals. You could have very easily had these people step aside and these people come in
right
and organically, and here comes this female character. She's new. She's
they should have
different.
never even made an Eternals movie. Let's be honest, man.
Nobody gets Eternals. Eternals is such a weird
keep
book.
It real, man.
So
I don't know anybody that was a huge Eternals fan.
Yeah, right.
In my walks through the comic book life, I haven't met a huge fan of it.
1 out of 5 people.
Right, of course, you, right?
1 out of 50, maybe. I don't know.
Like at the end of the day, man, I truly think it doesn't it's all about the story, right? We all agree to that. It's all about the story. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's important, that as long as you stick to the story and you make a great story, it really doesn't fucking matter who's playing the role, who's, we would love to see these characters. Like I said, it's not that we don't want to see a different color skin on Spider-Man. No, it's just that us reading it for so long, being in fucking programmed, this is what we see when we see Spider-Man, is not saying that we don't want to see a different Spider-Man. It's just that if you're going to do it right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't come at me with that political bullshit, the agendas behind it. Give me a real fucking amazing story. You know what I mean? Give me something that is going to feel just like what it's supposed to feel like. You know what I mean? And not try to dictate how I supposed to feel based on some shit that's going on, in the political world or some shit, and I think that that's what's important here, that regardless of the race, regardless of the gender, give us a good story, right? I mean, at the end of the day, even with She-Hulk, we were like, come on, man, come on, we could, give me a good fucking story.
That was I enjoyed that series. I'll be honest with you,
was cool.
It was bad
CG. Oh, man, there was a lot of dumb shit in there. Man. There was a lot of fucking stabs and innuendos and all kind of fucking, you know what I mean? I wasn't really feeling it, bro.
It was fun.
It was okay, savage. You know what I mean? And then at the ending, man, I kind of was like, what the fuck are they doing? I don't know. But they tried. It was great. Whatever. But my thing is this, at the end of the day, it's all about the fucking story. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's important.
I think the DC universe has shown us that. I mean, take a look at Green Lantern, some of those other properties.
Yeah, exactly.
They bombed because the story sucked.
That's true. If you don't have a good story, you can't, no matter how good your characters are. And that's where I believe that DC keeps falling into that same trap. They keep thinking, well, hey, we got Superman, we got Batman, we can't go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe.
Unless it's Batman, they kind of do wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
Batman's the only shit they really got that hits.
I mean, outside of Superman and Batman and maybe Wonder Woman, who else do they have in DC that's bankable to make a really good movie from? I'm sorry, I'm not the biggest fan.
I've been waiting for
the Creeper.
The Creeper.
They've got a lot of
characters
that they could bank, but they're just not using them properly. I mean, we're in a unique situation, guys. I mean, stop and think about this. We have been reading the source material for collectively what? Hundreds of years. If you add it up all the times. I mean, I've been collecting comics for over 40 years. It's like, and now people are wanting to change it. And I get it. I kind of get it. I mean, but does that make me comfortable?
I don't want to see any one of you show up as somebody different tomorrow. When I shoot you a message, I want that same person that I talked to yesterday. You know what I mean?
You're gonna get Black John tomorrow when you.
Yeah, they're gonna show up the Asian Morbius.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
You got a Polynesian Krash.
I mean, it's just one of those things. You become friends with these characters, and I guess that's where I'm like, no, I get it. I know this person, and I want to see more of them.
But it's not even.
But I'm also
personal.
But
I'm also open to making new friends, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I meet new people in the chat here all the time. I'm excited to meet this new person. So
I mean, I've met all of you guys except Krash, and I mean, honestly,
He's
all
too
great
cool
guys.
for us.
I can sit and talk with you. We can agree. We can disagree. I got no problem with any of that. But I have to wonder. I mean, we're 5 people here. I've got to wonder. I think we're approaching it from our view that we are comic book collectors, and this is for us. This is not for us, guys. We're a small.
I love my comic books, though.
Yeah, but we're a small percentage. We might have started it. It's like that. It's like when you're into a band and you're seeing them in a club, and they become big. Same thing. Oh,
you're absolutely right. They transition, and you're no longer a fan of them. They got a whole fan base.
Same thing. Right?
No. So are they just chasing us out
these
then?
characters to new people? And I mean, what percentage of people going to the movies are comic book collectors?
Not a lot.
I don't know. I don't go to the movies, so.
Well, Paul, we're no longer the target market. I know Paul's like, they're gonna phase us out. You're right. We're not the target market, and at the end of the day, this isn't for pleasure. It's for business. They're trying to make money.
It's a fucking business. At the end of the day, it's a fucking business, man.
I'm listening to all this. It's a business. It makes me think of, as a big X-Men fan, and this is not race related, but it's sexual orientation related. So we all are X-Men fans. We read X-Men for years. Iceman. He used to have a girlfriend. What's her name? Opal. I think she was Japanese.
Opal.
Didn't he have three girlfriends first?
Opal Tanaka.
He had different girlfriends, and it was like all of a sudden 10 years ago he was gay, and it was like I got no problem with anybody, but I'm just saying I've been reading this character for 30 years. I know a little bit of his family.
Paul, if you go back and you look at when you look at Jean Grey showing up, okay, go back to when Jean Grey shows up in the X-Men, and Bobby Drake sits there and goes, "A girl, who cares?" It might go back that far.
Look at you making connections.
I mean, that's
far. I
but
mean,
that versus him having a girlfriend.
The Dark Phoenix run. I just finished the Dark Phoenix run today, and then that issue when Cyclops leaves, he references. He shows that scene. It does make me wonder. I mean, I don't know if that's what they were thinking. It might just be that Bobby Drake's 14.
I'll guarantee you
Opal was a beard.
Who was the guy from Alpha Flight?
That's not what they was thinking.
Who was the guy from Alpha Flight that the first gay married?
North Star.
What if he turned up straight tomorrow? What if he turned they're kicking off a new Alpha Flight book and he's straight? Like, people would be pissed. Like, if he's pre-established,
would they be pissed? I mean, I want to be pissed. You know what it is? It goes back to what
I think gay people would be pissed.
If nobody gives a fuck about the character, no one cares. If you stop fucking around with Wolverine, in my case, they didn't change his race.
Don't you dare touch Wolverine, bro.
Listen, I met a guy.
Stay the fuck away from Wolverine, bro.
They made Wolverine tall.
I met a guy in Baltimore. Who Quasar was his favorite character. Everybody has a favorite. Yeah, Quasar. Dude was like, I love Quasar. I'm like, you're insane. Everybody's every character has a fan.
Listen, man.
So what about those people who were Iceman fans? What do they do now? They just
They just
what's wrong with Iceman sucked.
Hey, you got 4 other X-Men you can go to.
I don't know. I'm saying he's saying everybody's a fan. There might be some Iceman fans out there. Hey, he was cool on the cartoon, right? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah. I'm too old for that shit. So
yo, man, listen, hey, man, we're already getting to the end of this joint, man. We're about to hit our hour mark, man. Salute to everybody who was in the chat hanging out with us. Salute to everybody catching the replay. As you already know, in Comic Relief, we let y'all know how it is. There's no holds bars here on the show, and today was a great topic. And overall, man, listen, man. You got to understand that, these companies and these movies, it's all about a buck, man. And they just going to exploit whatever they can exploit to make these movies and to try to make as much money off of us, whether it is to, gender, race swap. If that's the coin right now, if that's the bag, they're going to go for that bag. You know what I mean? And it's up to us to just see between the lines and realize what's going on and not get caught up in that bullshit. And stick to your books. Remember, read your comic books. Don't stop the hunt. Y'all already know, man. Salute to everybody who's hanging out with us. Salute to everybody who came hang out with us. John, Soul, Big John, and Big Krash. What's good? And everybody who's hanging out with us. Peace. Salute to y'all. Y'all already know how we do. Peace.
Deuce.